Voices of the people, loud and pure. Alberta unfiltered, strong and sure.
Good morning, Maxime. It's really nice to have you here in Alberta. I'm Marilyn Burns from Alberta Unfiltered, and we'd like to talk to you about a potential upcoming election this fall in October.
I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And yes, I'm looking forward for that discussion.
Wonderful. Now, you were involved in 2021-22 in the Free People movement. During COVID, we had quite the challenge with our freedoms being taken away, and you stood up. Can you describe what happened?
Oh my God, that was a very difficult time for freedom lovers in our country at that time,
Yes.
as you know. I was in Ottawa during the Freedom Convoy. I did, travel across the country, speak about freedom and the freedom of choice to be able to decide if they want that shot or that so-called vaccine or not. So the federal government did impose on a vaccine passport. I did fight these vaccine passport in court, didn't win up to the Supreme Court of Canada, but also because I was speaking for freedom of choice in Manitoba, I have been arrested, handcuffed, and put in jail just because I was speaking about freedoms. Everything that happened during that time, it's sad, but the People's Party and myself, we were the only national political party that was speaking for the people. At that time, the Conservatives were, like the Liberals and the NDP, and they were okay with vaccine passport. They were promoting that vaccine. Now we know that the vaccine, so-called vaccine, was not safe and effective. And today, I strongly believe that we need a moratorium on the use of the mRNA vaccine. We need to know more about that and the impact on our, health. So that's the position of the People's Party of Canada, to be sure that what happened 3 years ago, no government would do that again.
How many days or hours did you spend in prison standing up for freedom in Canada?
Yeah, 12 hours. They didn't want me there. I was in a jail, a real jail, for 12 hours. And after that, the provincial government in Manitoba and the police over there told me, you must leave the province. You're not welcome here. And I was not able to do a rally that was supposed to be in Winnipeg. So that was coming from government elected, a conservative government elected in Manitoba. The fact that my freedom was to speak as a politician, a leader of a national political party, that's my job, to promote our ideas. And I was not able to do that. And actually what they did also, I was not able to participate in the national debates at this election in 2021. They didn't want our point of view. They didn't want, they had only one narrative, and they didn't want us to be out there and challenge them. But, the People's Party is still here to fight for Canadians. We are putting Canadian first and our country first.
Thank you. Let's move on to talk about the Canadian Constitution.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to change the Canadian Constitution?
Very difficult. We need to have 7 provinces representing 50% of the population. So the position of our party is not to change the Constitution. We will take years to do that, is to respect the Constitution. And we can do that, and and by doing that, we will give more autonomy to every province. Alberta, Quebec, and all these provinces, we are not doing that right now. And as you may know, in that Constitution, we have the equalization formula.
Yes, that's an important topic in Alberta.
That's the formula, the redistribution formula. Rich provinces are giving money to poor provinces. But we don't need to reopen the Constitution to change that.
That's right.
We just need to be less generous, and that's our position. Poilievre, Trudeau, and all these establishment politicians don't want to speak about that. But for me, it's so important for the prosperity of our country, but also for the unity of our country.
Okay.
I know that here in Alberta, people are frustrated. They want a real change. And, Quebec, my own province, is supposed to be a poor province. We are supposed to be a poor province since 1957. Quebec received equalization since the creation of that program. So it is in the Constitution. What we can do, the federal government, what the federal government can do can be less generous and radically reduce the equalization payment. Instead of giving billions of dollars, the federal government can decide to give only millions of dollars. That will be fair for every province. Now, because of that formula, Quebec and Eastern Canada, they don't develop their natural resources because there's no incentives to do that. They are receiving equalization money. So if they do that, they will be richer and they won't receive any equalization money. But that's why we need to cut these payments. That will be the right incentive to do that. But actually, Poilievre was in Halifax, in Nova Scotia, and the premier of Halifax said recently that, he's ready. He said, we want our province to be richer, and maybe we must do a little bit better to be sure that we won't receive equalization money for all the time. So he's a little bit open for reducing the equalization payments. And Poilievre had a question a couple of days ago in Halifax about that. The journalist said, Mr. Poilievre, are you ready to reduce the money in the equalization formula to be fair for every province? His answer was clear. He said, no, I won't cut the equalization payments. I won't cut the equalization payment. So that's Poilievre, who is taking for granted the conservative vote here in Alberta and Manitoba.
Let's talk about the conservative vote in Alberta and the dissatisfaction that Albertans are feeling right now. There's a gentleman in Alberta, Dr. Michael Wagner, who writes only about separation. And he's indicated that at any given time, between 20 and 62% of Albertans would like Alberta to leave Canada. Given that there's more organization now in that kind of movement in Alberta, what's your perspective about national unity?
We must do something. If not, I understand that. And we have the same sentiment in Quebec.
Okay.
Right now, the PQ is ahead in the polls. We'll have a provincial election in 2026. Maybe the PQ will be in government. And the leader of the PQ, the separatist political party at the provincial level in Quebec, said that if you vote for the PQ, it's a vote for the independence because I will do a referendum, a year after being elected. So that means that in 2027, if the PQ win the election in 2026, we may have another referendum on the independence of Quebec. So why are we having that? Because of the bad policies at the federal level. And here in Alberta, you want a fair deal and you don't have a fair deal.
Correct.
And Poilievre is not listening to you. And I strongly believe that we are the only hope for this country. Fixing the equalization payment, less generous, having a smaller government in Ottawa that will give you more autonomy and to every province. If we do that, that will be successful. If not, maybe Alberta they will vote for separation. Maybe Quebec will do that. And actually, I love this country, but I don't like our country today because of Ottawa. Our enemy is not Putin or our enemy is our own government. So let's be serious about that. And I hope that here in Alberta, Albertan will look at the People's Party of Canada as the insurance policy for them to push the Conservative in the right direction, to be sure that Poilievre will be honest, to ask the real questions. There's no risk for people in Alberta to vote for us, for the People's Party, because look at the polls. Poilievre will win, and after 9 years, it's always like that in the history of our country, he will have that majority. So Albertans wants to get rid of the Liberals, they will. So there's no split the vote. They can vote without any risk for what they believe, for their conscience, for the People's Party, and we will speak for Albertans and for Canada like we did since the creation of that party in 2018.
What's your platform on taxation?
I don't like taxes. I wrote a book for a flat tax. We need to get rid of all the subsidies to businesses, having a flat tax on business, no more capital gains tax. Polyev won't speak about that. He will reduce the capital gains tax, but we must abolish the capital gains tax. We must also be sure that we have 5 tax brackets, income tax, personal income tax. We can reduce that to 3 tax brackets. But before lowering taxes, we need to be serious and tackle the deficit. We need to balance the budget, and we can do that in 1 year. And after that, we'll reduce taxes because we believe that you know better what is good for you. You know better how to spend your own money. And we want you, Canadians, to be able to do that, to have more of your own money in your own pockets with a smaller government in Ottawa that won't interfere in provincial jurisdictions, that will respect taxpayers, and that will lower your taxes.
I'm going to take you back in history a little bit. Has there ever been a federal government that has balanced a budget within 1 year of taking office?
No, because they are buying votes. They are buying votes. They think that, Canadians are stupid, but Canadians are not stupid.
Just get retired.
They know. When the federal government is giving you something, it's because it took it somewhere from you. So it's not a gift. There's no free money. So what we must do is balance the budget. And they don't have the courage to speak about cuts. So like the Conservative at the last election, that the leader O'Toole said, I will balance the budget in 5 years. And he was asking for a 4 years mandate. So that was crazy. Now you have Polyev, he said, I'll fix the budget. Fix the budget. Oh yeah, in how many years? He won't say that. They don't have the courage, because if you're saying that we'll do that in 1 year, you need to tell Canadians how you will do it. I will cut corporate welfare, $10 billion. I will cut all the subsidies that the federal government is giving to the mainstream media, and CBC and Radio-Canada will save $2 billion. I will cut foreign aid. We are giving money to other countries in Africa to build road when we don't have the money here for Canadians for healthcare, for example. $10 billion that we can save. So if you're serious, you can do it. And by doing that, you're going to create more freedom, and people will be able to reinvest here. Business will come here, and they will create wealth. And when you have a big government, you don't have your freedom. When you have a smaller government, you have more freedom.
What's your position on immigration?
Moratorium. That's it. Moratorium. And I'm not alone. More than 60% of Canadians are saying enough is enough. We said that in 2018, we must control the immigration. We did not control the immigration. Polyev and Trudeau are pandering to these immigrant communities. They want their vote, they want their support, and I'm not. I'm working for Canadians, and what we want to have a moratorium, so a stop on the immigration, and also we want to deport all illegals that we have in our country. We have about between 20,000 and 500,000 illegals. We don't know the exact number. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. We need to put resources to do that, to know it, to know all that, and to deport them. And now Polyev and Trudeau are saying to these illegals, we will give you permanent residency. So they don't respect our legislation, and we are giving them a nice gift, permanent residency. No, we have a legislation, we must follow the legislation, and when you're illegals, usually we must do everything for you to go back to your country of origin. And so we must have a stop to mass immigration and starting mass deportation.
What do you think the influence of Donald Trump having been elected will have on Canada?
Good. Very good. First, people say, he wants to impose tariffs, 25% tariffs. That would be very bad for the economy. How come, Bernier, you support that guy that will kill our economy? He's a good negotiator, first. I don't know if he will impose 5% tariff or 25% tariff. But what I know, we must not play that game. We must not impose tariff on the US. We won't win. It will hurt the US, but it will hurt more us here in Canada, and we may go through a recession. So what we must do, we must be sure that our economy is strong. That's why we need to have a real free trade agreement in this country. The father of our Constitution built this country in 1867. and they said we want an economic union, and we don't have that after more than 150 years. So we need to have an economic union. We need to lower taxes. We need to cut corporate welfare. We need to cut the capital gains tax. We need to cut regulation, smaller government, to bring more investment in Canada, because we need investment to grow and to be more productive. So if Trump is imposing his tariff, we need to speak with him, and I believe that he wants three things. The first one, secure your borders.
Yes.
We will do it. We, the People's Party, will do it by reinvesting, protecting the borders, and stopping mass immigration and having the deportation. He wants us to reinvest in our own defense. Yes, we will reinvest in our own defense. It is important. The sovereignty of the North, we need to protect that. We'll do that. And third, he wants to have a good deal. We are able to have a good deal with him. We need to tell him, you are buying Canadian resources, and if you impose a tariff on that, you will have inflation in the US. And Trump did fight inflation. That was part of his electoral campaign. So let's relax, wait what he will do, and after that react, but not with tariff and trying to start a commercial or trade war with the US. But Poilievre is for a trade war. Trudeau is for a trade war with the US, except here in Alberta, Danielle Smith. I think she's the only one who said, let's diplomacy first, discussion. He may impose his tariff. We will say we need to work on our own economy here to be more productive. And that's a great solution. That's the solution that we want to promote, and we are promoting at the People's Party.
This has been an excellent discussion. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the people of Alberta before we finish our chat?
Yes. The question. I want their support. I will be their voice and the voice of all Canadians. But here in Alberta, what Albertans are telling me, Maxime, we love your platform. We love your ideas. But we want to get rid of the Liberals and Trudeau. We won't vote for you. We will vote for Poilievre. One, I don't like that, because you know what? There's no risk voting for us right now. And I understand their point of view. They want to have another government. They don't want the Trudeau government. And same thing with me also, and all across the country. But the good news for these people, if they look at the polls, they will have a conservative government. They will be able to get rid of the Liberal. So there's no split the vote. There's no split the vote. Now it's win-win. They can vote for us. They can vote for our candidates. We will be sure to push the Conservative in the right direction, to be sure that Poilievre will be honest and he will be a real Conservative. We are your insurance policy here in Alberta that Poilievre will do what is good for you. Now Poilievre is taking your vote for granted. He won't speak about the equalization, like I said. He won't do any changes, and that's important for you because you think that it's unfair, and it is unfair. So he won't speak about the Paris Accord. He will sting the Paris Accord and try to have the net zero before 2030 and put more regulations on businesses. We won't do that. We will withdraw from the Paris Accord. So if you like that, vote for the People's Party. There's no risk. Poilievre would be prime minister, and we will be sure that our ideas will be more influential, and we will win that battle of ideas. So that's why I'm asking. I hope that people will look and vote for what they believe. Because if you want something, you will have more chances to have what you want if you vote for what you want.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure today.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Truth and honor.